Good evening, team. Welcome, everybody, to the Long Run Show podcast, where I'm joined by the absolute heroes. Coach Al's here, Ben's here, and Hayden's. What t-shirt you got on, Hayden?
Berlin.
This goes Berlin one. I got my Boston one on. Thought I'd wear that.
I got my Paris one on.
Have you?
Yeah.
And Al, look at Al rocking. Look, Al's got
GNR.
look, on brand. He's the only one on brand. Well done, Al. At least
It's more luck than
I got the hat.
judgment.
I got the hat.
Oh yeah, you have actually. Well done. This next hour, we're basically going to be sweating our way through this through this show. And if you hear anything in the background, we can only apologise. We've all got our windows open, and if I could have air conditioning in this room, I would, and I wouldn't really care about the noise, to be honest with you. We are talking today about mileage. What's the right amount of mileage? It's a tricky one, this one. I think this is going to open up a can of worms or a can of whoop-ass. Could be either. So I do have a question for everybody, but we'll let the viewers join slowly. Before we do that, let's give a shout out to our sponsors, Skechers. Thanks very much, Skechers. New shoes launching on July the 15th. I think you can buy some of them now, actually. The Spark might be on sale with our friends at sportshoes.com. And by the way, Hayden, did you realise if you're a 40 Runs affiliated club member, you get a discount at sportshoes.com?
I actually knew that, and I actually knew it was actually a big whoop ass, as you say, 15%.
That's a lot, isn't it?
It
But
is.
let's say, for whatever reason, you do want to be part of the largest running club as an affiliated member. But obviously, we do encourage people to join for free. We've removed that barrier of cost. Wouldn't it be really good if you could still get like a discount at like the leading European retailer? Wouldn't that be good?
Surely it wouldn't be possible unless you've got a lot of power and you're one of the biggest clubs. Then there might be a chance.
Might be a chance. So it might be worth heading over to FORDYRUNS.com and having a look at the review section, the new shoe review section, because there might be a cheeky little code in there for all our social members. Yes, people, there's 10% off in there if you can find it. We've made it a little bit hard to find because otherwise voucher code will be stripping the life out of it. So we've hidden it under the shoe review section on our website. Go and check out the shoe reviews, especially if you like running shoes. It's quite interesting. Ben, have you been on the running shoe page? Because I know you're really into your shoes.
I was looking for a review of the Evo SLs, but you know, did my own.
It's only half and half marathon. What's that? Oh, it's just these new Adidas things.
I just do what I'm told. You go and buy that.
The best one still was Hackney. Al turned up to Hackney, and he's in bright green. And then I looked at his shoes, which were matching, and they were Nova Blast 5s that he's just ran like whatever it was. It's just ridiculous. So my question to Al is, do you match your shoes to what you're wearing?
Being that I'm colourblind, I probably don't, but I wouldn't know.
You got that pink top on, Al.
I must admit, I do like shopping at a certain sock shop because they do like to match their socks to their shoes. Yeah. So that's about as close as it gets for me most of the time.
Yours must be easier. I thought you were the biggest white trainer man in the world. You love a pair of white shoes, don't you?
I've got bright red ones at the moment. I've just gone for the new Rebel 5s, which are bright red. So
flame
it's all
red,
changing. You can't stand still in this world. You've got to move on.
Flame red. There's a song in there, Rebel. I mean, there's a song by UB40. It's called Rebel. Go and check it out, everybody. I don't know. I'm just pre-warning everybody. This show could go one way or the other. It's going to be brilliant, or it's going to be total and utter shit. I'm just putting that right at the front. No, honestly, it could go one way or the other. I'm just putting it out there. I've had a horrible day, so it could go one way or the other. But before we get on to it, I am going to ask the question. I want to know in the comments. So if you're new to this, we record this show live because we're stupid and we enjoy our audience getting involved. So audience participation time. Oh, Hayden's off. What do you reckon?
What's pizza?
Hang on. No, I reckon the helicopter
landed. Yeah.
What do you reckon, Al? Where's he gone?
Where's he gone? Has he disappeared? I can still see him.
New Rolex arrived from Switzerland. What do you think?
Maybe the butler fell over.
What was it? Butler fell over? Helicopter needed fuel.
Lou in the other wing had needed a wine.
None of that. 'Cause
Someone
I'm not-
rang. What? Have you got like one of them Coke bells, like the president of the United States? Have you got one of them in your house so that the servants bring it to you?
It's much less technical than that. I hadn't plugged in my laptop and the battery was getting low. So I had to quickly go and plug it in. So it's not posh, it's not
Have
technical.
that for you, no?
Yeah, don't you ring a bell when someone comes and just...
Surely, usually
They
you do
phone
this.
me. They phone me.
Anyway, I was asking a very serious question to the audience that you rudely interrupted.
Sorry.
I wanted to know from the audience, and this is serious. We're going to poll this. I want to know how many miles, kilometers, because some of you do that as well, Hayden, do you run per week? Now, this is not a what's this? I was going to use a very bad word then. A contest. Okay. This is just, we want to know, interestingly, because we're going to talk about this in terms of, you know, how many what's a good number? Is there a good number? Is there a bad number? You know, is there like a minimum effective dose of mileage? You know, that sort of thing versus overtraining. So let us know, where are you at? What are you running a week? It's interesting, isn't it? Where are you on this? Just as a front loaded, because I've got something else to talk about, Hayden.
I've always said I've never been one of these mileage monsters. Mileage doesn't, for me, it's more about the quality, and I try to get the quality sessions in. Again, we'll come on to it. Obviously, it's all subjective, isn't it? It depends on what you're training for, what you're running for, what your goals are, what you want to achieve. But for me, no matter what I'm training for, whether it be a marathon or a 5K, for me, it isn't about mile after mile after mile. It's more about that quality, definitely.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll come on to that as the viewers get loaded up. And we'll dive into that. The other thing I wanted to touch on. Did anyone see the mile race last night? That's what I wanted to start with.
Brilliant.
Ben, did you watch that? Or was you busy?
I was at work, I'm afraid, on my way back.
Al, did you watch it?
Saw it on highlights. Didn't see it live. I caught it later on.
Highlights? How can it be? It was only 4 minutes.
All right, okay. It's delayed. It was on a delay time. I watched it after the event as live.
It was impressive,
whenever
wasn't it?
It was 8 o'clock. Yeah.
It was impressive, wasn't it? Yeah.
She looked exhausted at the end, didn't she?
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I mean,
her form dipped in that last 200 meters. I must admit, she looked a bit ragged coming in around that last bend.
She looked like me. I thought it was great.
I think that's the mile is so hard to race, I reckon, mentally, because you've got to go full out, but it just must feel like an eternity.
It's basically it has become basically a sprint, isn't it? They're at full pace, really. They're not holding back that much at all. I was actually reading something today. It's by one of Faith's ex-coaches, and he actually thought that the biggest cock up of it was that she had too many paces. There's too many distractions. Otherwise, she would have went. I don't think the sub 4 was ever going to be on, if I'm honest, but she'd have went a lot closer. There's just too much around her and too much going on. I understand with the dynamics, and they wanted to protect her from the wind and stuff. But there was guys at the back just doing absolutely nothing. I didn't get all that. I think it's too much. He was saying too much of distractions. You needed a different environment on that last lap, the last 200 meters. Literally, should have broke away and just had one behind her, just pushing and chasing her. But still,
mate, you're right on that. It did seem crowded, didn't it? It did seem. I get the sort of science behind it. Makes sense. Obviously, they did that with Kipchoge, didn't they, in the marathon distance? But yeah, it did. It seemed a bit overkill, didn't it?
I was actually, so he was going on to tell us, I didn't realise, well, Georgia Bell, Great Britain 1500 metre runner, she was there pacing as well. And while they were doing practicing for it, and she was actually being Faith at one point, and they were all practicing going around her. They're running through wind tunnels just to maximise that velocity, just to get them extra like hundreds of seconds. The science and technology and money that went into that project is unbelievable off the scale.
Yeah, it is incredible. I enjoyed it. I felt a bit sorry if it was the wrong word because she didn't do it. But it was still an unbelievable thing to see, an unbelievable achievement. It was, it was pretty cool actually. It's I like that sort of thing.
Yeah, and that's why Nike come into their fullest, don't they?
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I like watching it when Kipchoge done it. That was good as well. Anyway, that sort of thing. Right. So before we move on, I want to check in with you, Free. What you been up to? Because Al, you've been busy, to put it mildly. So fill the viewers in what you've been up to.
I was just looking at my Strava because the topic's about mileage. It clearly hasn't been anything to do with running I've hardly done any miles the last few weeks. I've been busy travelling.
That's it. Yeah, that's what I'm
been
referring
to. Up and down the A1 twice a week for 150 miles. No, obviously been across. I don't know if you talked about it last week. I didn't catch up with the show. Obviously, the bridge run. Still chasing down loads of alphabets. Heading off again tomorrow for another important letter. And we'll be travelling abroad soon next week as well. So always on the move on a Saturday morning in the pursuit of park run. Definitely.
Yeah, good for you, bro. You've got to get out there. Hayden, you was you on last week? Oh, I can't remember.
No, you had a pre-record. So in answer to our question about they'd talk about the bridge run, they didn't because it hadn't happened by the time you guys recorded the pre-record.
Right.
So I was out with Al over in Copenhagen. Well, Al was actually in Malmo.
And Malmo.
We was doing the Bridges run, the sort of dubbed once in a lifetime maybe run from Copenhagen over to Sweden. And it was, even though there's a lot of criticism that we can have with regards to the organisation of the race, logistics are just hard work for the crew there. Ultimately, you've got to take it for what it was. And it was an experience that I probably won't ever get to do again. And I'm so grateful and so glad I got to do it. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Everything about it. It was difficult. The tunnel, 4 kilometers inside, it's basically like the big half on steroids. You know, the tunnel bit, you go in there, God, times that by about 15. And like,
it's like running the big half in the tunnel, isn't it? The whole of the big half in the tunnel.
Oh, no.
That's what it felt like.
Actually, you would have lost your shit, Chris. You would have went mad. I can imagine you coming out of the tunnel just going absolute nuts. It was so hot. But it was an experience like no other. I was running from one country to the next over a bridge in a straight line, a bit like a Boston race. Absolutely fantastic. And the culture in the city, everything else goes alongside it. The park run, fabulous weekend.
You were lucky to actually run though. Some of us had to walk. That last 200 meters, I don't know if you know, Chris, took me 15 minutes. 15 minutes to get across the finish line from the 21 kilometers to the 21.1 kilometer. That was some of the criticism that Hayden was alluding to, shall we say?
But then the race organisers come back and adjusted everyone's time, didn't they?
I didn't get a 1:47. I didn't adjust it that much.
No,
but it was they did recognise it. To be fair, yeah, they did recognise.
There's that place in Turkey, isn't it, where you go from, is it Asia to another continent? I can't remember what it is. There's a bridge out in, is it Turkey where there's?
Yeah, it must be. Is it Istanbul? Must be, because that's in Europe.
Istanbul,
and
Asia. Europe and Asia.
European
It'd be cool to do a race that, wouldn't they? You'd have thought they'd do like.
If you do Detroit, if you do Detroit Marathon as well, you go. I think you start in Canada and then come back into the US as well.
You'll speak to the man up there in the top right.
I'm doing the half. I'm doing the half in October, but yeah, you start in Detroit. You run across the bridge to get into Canada. You then run around Canada for a bit. Then you come back through the tunnel to get back into America. Obviously, we booked up before the Canadians and the Americans were at war. You were advised, and you still are advised, that you need, all your visas and your ESTAs. But whether you get stopped and frisked as you're trying to come back, it could be another one where I'm waiting 15 minutes to get across the finish line. We'll wait and see. But at least I know how to cope with it. Mid to late October. I can't remember the date off the top of my head.
Sounds good.
But yeah,
I'll tell you, Chris, we'll go straight up there from Chicago, but stay on, jump on a train straight over to Detroit and do that one.
Yeah, and then hang around for New York as well. So it's sandwiched in the middle between Chicago and New York.
What a winter.
Yeah. I quite like the sound of that, actually. I genuinely, I could be available.
Yeah, we ain't got to fly that way, have you? You're already in Chicago. You got all that bit over and done with. Jump on the train to Detroit and then go and do that off.
Yeah, I could be available. I could be available. In my current mindset, I could be available. That's interesting. I didn't realise it. Ben, you celebrated a milestone the other day, and then upset everybody when you was doing your. So Ben did a courageous thing, which I think, and I've seen Chloe do this as well, and others, where they run the park run and then they do the scanning thing. But Ben was probably the worst scanner. It was rude.
In my defence, it was my first time scanning.
Was it? Oh, you could tell. Yeah. He had this bucket around his neck. Well, I don't know what the bucket was for.
The finish token.
Oh, is that what that was? I thought you looked like a cow. It was like a bell around your neck. Do you know what I mean? Oh no. But it was bizarre to see the sort of incompetence really at work.
It was harsh.
It was. And he was so rude. I was waiting to get my barcode scanned, and he served some other geezer before me.
Served.
That's because you were like taking ages trying to find your barcode. I was
Yeah,
being
to be fair,
efficient.
I didn't know where it was. So yes, how was your 100th park run?
I mean, you turned up. What more could you want?
I wasn't going to come. I was being miserable as usual.
No, it was good. I got there. Obviously, it was PB's last time as RD at Aldenham. So shout out to Petra. She's been doing that for a while. And then the two Tracy's and admin were there, which was really nice.
Yeah.
And then I was asked how you were after Friday night, and I just used the word miserable. And then you rocked over, and I was like, "Oh, here he is." You only came for the McDonald's, though. To be fair.
Yeah, it's true. That is true. A big arch. You can't
Yeah.
mention that to Speako. Please don't mention the big arch to Speako. He's got the right ump about it. Have you tried the big arch out?
No.
No.
I'm an athlete.
No, I've seen it advertised on telly all the time, but no, I haven't had the pleasure yet.
Don't talk to Tote about it. He's very upset how disappointed it was with the big arch. So not only do we want you to tell us in the comments about how many kilometers do you run per week, can you let us know your score out of 10 for the new big arch? Everyday runners. Oh, man. I tell you what, it's so hot. I went to this race on Wednesday. I thought I was going to die. It was so hot at Battersea. There was just like, no breeze. I think that's even worse. Like, sometimes you moan about how windy it is, but there was just not a breath of air at all. And it stunk of like this flower, like this thing. And it was so noisy with all these people there. It was just awful. It really was. And the thing is, next week's going to be hotter. It's going to be, and you've got to feel for people who are like I know Mark, he changed his long run around because Sunday is going to be 32 degrees. So people obviously got that on the plan because all these marathon and half marathon plans are started, haven't they? So people are out there getting mileage. What's your sort of thoughts on or tips on sort of doing these long runs in the heat sort of thing?
Go out early and go slow if you have to do it, would be the advice. And if any doubts, one run is not worth seriously putting your health at risk. So, just ease it back. Well, I know we say don't go chasing miles, but it's not worth doing long-term damage and putting yourself in hospital for the sake of one long run. It won't last. It never does in this country. So we'll be complaining about the wind and the rain in July. So it'll be fine.
Yeah, it is true. Ben and I will be doing laps at the weekend. Again, it's that old thing we always talk about, which is more about having the hydration to hand. So, like literally every 3 miles, you're getting some hydration. You can fuel up and that sort of thing. And even just stopping for like a minute just to have a drink. You know what I mean? And we park in like a car park where it's like shady and stuff. Ben usually goes there for night time, but it's quite. It's quite shady. No, seriously, it's quite shady. So again, you get a bit of respite from it, and then you go off, you do it. So it's like it just changes it up a bit. So that's something I would consider.
I actually think you've just indirectly just given us a bit of a tip on the longer runs. Actually, by pure luck as well. Last weekend we've done a Wimbledon Common park run, and because it is over a common and it was baking hot anyway, but the majority of it is shaded because of the trees, and you're in the shade. So maybe change up a little bit. Have a look at a trail run or something. Because a lot of these trail runs do go through woods or wherever you are, and it keeps it a bit shady and a bit cooler as well. So I think that's a great idea, to be fair.
Yeah, along the coast sometimes is a good shout as well. Trail run along the coast ain't a bad shout. Something like that, you could do that.
We've got a 10 out of 10 for the big arch, by the way, in the comments.
Tobe ain't going to be happy. I honestly, he was like nuclear about it. I said he asked me for some advice on what to eat, and I told him to go and have it. He went loopy. But the thing is, I was because it was the only. So I basically in my diet plan thatVe got, which is not really a plan.
We're not going on to this again, are we?
No, but it's only to say that once a week I'm allowed. Once a week I allow myself, if I behave all week in terms of, doing what I want to do in terms of my diet, I allow myself a cheat meal, and my cheat meal was the big arch. But because I'm so hungry. Like so hungry from not eating effectively, I went big, and I made the critical error of having as a chaser a McChicken sandwich with cheese and bacon. So you don't need it. It was totally the wrong side to have.
You'd only done a park run.
Yeah, but I hadn't eaten basically all week, Ben, as you know.
Yeah,
You know,
to be fair, true.
I have lost the stone. So, and I've done that because I'm a genius.
Do you think there's a correlation here if you're not eating, starving yourself, and you being miserable as hell all week?
No,
There's got to be a link.
No.
There's a link.
I saw him Friday night, and then the excitement on Saturday because he was going to go to McDonald's.
He's allowed to eat.
It was. I mean, he arrived at the summer solstice run about 3 weeks early. He messaged me and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to arrive at 6:25," and I was like, "Well, we said 7:00." So he was miserable from that, miserable the whole way round, miserable when he left, and then he turned up Saturday morning, bouncing around like a Tigger, going, "I'm going to get McDonald's." So Hayden, I think you've cracked it.
That's what it is.
It's not. I don't know whether that's true or not. Whether you do become miserable by not eating, but
Definitely.
it's not that. It's other circumstances which I can't tell everybody. But I just honestly,
So you had a chaser of a McChicken sandwich with what?
with the big So I went large, big. Why are we talking about food again? We went big arch, right? Big arch, large, yeah. But then I had the McChicken because you need extra with it. I don't understand how hungry I am at the moment, and so I went that. But that I think done me up. And then I sort of didn't really enjoy the big arch to its splendor. So I said to Spigo, go and try it. And then he hammered me. So that's the story of the big arch. There we go. Is people putting in the miles and all that? Oh, yes, they are, which is good. So we will come on to that. I'm just going to have some things. I tell you what, is anybody else taking this creatine stuff? And I'll make you thirsty. Bleed now. Aidan, you've been trying that.
No, absolutely not. No. Nothing.
It doesn't taste good, though, does it?
Have you tried creatine?
No, I was put off when Arsene Wenger took over at Arsenal and he introduced it to the players, and it caused some kidney problems apparently back in the days.
Right.
Never touched it since.
Wilco got us onto this, so if we all have kidney failure live on air, it's down to Wilco. Man, I'll make you thirsty. That's the only thing with it.
Why are you drinking it? Let's get this out in the open. You're not just drinking it because Wilco said. I don't believe that at all. What is your thought process behind drinking this creatine?
Well, I actually checked with Jack at Kendall, and I'll tell you what he said to me. Hold tight. Other brands available. But if you want to, there's a code. Ben, what's the code?
40 runs.
You're welcome. Right, here is he.
That was good.
Okay. Take 5 grams.
Ooh.
No, is it G? 5G?
Yeah, but that 5 grams, that's a lot.
No, it can't be.
Depends
I'm on 3, so
if you're drinking it, sniffing it, or injecting it, doesn't it?
There's a scoop in the thing. Anyway, we'll confirm this in a minute. 5G, great for increasing muscular strength, but also as a recovery aid. That's from Jack Kendall, runs Kendall.
That's what Matt said as well.
Yeah, and we had the scientists confirm that.
Oh, so I spoke to Matt about it, and he messaged me this. If you take 5 grams, it makes you really miserable.
And makes you drink a lot of water.
Makes you drink a lot. Makes you extra hot.
If you have 3.4 grams, then you're okay.
Are you only taking 3 grams of creatine?
3.4. That's the size.
Why only 3.4?
Because that's the size of my scoop. I've got a smaller scoop than you.
Clearly, you need the man-sized scoop that I've got. No wonder you're not getting anywhere in life. Your scoop's too small. We're going to get so told off for this episode. I told you, I did warn the viewers that it would go one way or the other, didn't I? Be fair.
I don't have a scoop at all, so I just feel completely left out.
Poor old Al ain't even got a scoop. Yeah,
I feel really inadequate without a scoop.
I'm good. Now you've said that, I'm good. Now I'm making sure I've said the right amount here. Well, I don't want people to take it. And they're all doing 5 grams. They all have kidney failure. Bleeding hell. Right, hang on.
Gavin Braden said 5 grams per serving is standard for cocaine. Yeah. Oh, sorry, spelling mistake. Creatine. He does say creatine.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, 5 grams. Yeah, I think so.
Maybe mine's pure, so you know.
Is it pure?
No, I don't know. It just says
5 grams. 1 scoop equals 5 grams. You've just got a small scoop. That's it.
What can I
Who
say?
else?
Size isn't everything.
Let us know in the comments.
Ben is
who
worth
else
a
has got
scoop and a
small
half. Just look
Yeah,
at it like that,
let's-
Ben. You're worth a scoop and a half.
Ben, you ain't gonna increase your muscular strength like me if you're only taking small like kids amount. It's true though, isn't it?
I mean, but I had a head start on you.
Yeah, you did. So anyway, we don't recommend it on here, but we're just saying that Matt, the sports scientist, recommended it, and Kendall recommended it as well. So we're going to give it a go. Who knows what'll happen? I'll probably end up having kidney failure, but at least I won't have to go to work. So that's a positive. That's the only positive I can say from it all, really. Al, what's people saying about their mileage?
So we've got, let's have a look. We had there's been quite a lot of comments, but a lot of them about bridges and running around islands and stuff. So James Henson down in the southwest is on 30 to 35. We're not in a plan. Two Sheds, Glenn, 35 to 45 kilometers. So you got to do a quick recce against what that is in miles. I think we had South Coast runner from sounds like the West Coast runner, and he's in 100 degrees, running 60 to 70 miles a week. So quite a lot of variety there already, and I'm sure we'll pick that up when we get talking about it.
Well, I think we've got
Chris, can I ask before we start talking about it? I have a quick guess. This is really coincidental because I heard it this week. How many miles a week do you think, when he's in a training plan, Kipchoge runs a week? Does anyone actually know?
I don't know. I can guess.
Have a guess. Have a rough guess. What you reckon?
50.
50 miles a week, Kipchoge.
He's busy travelling to Paris.
Go on now. What do you reckon?
120. 120.
Ben?
Yeah, I was going to go about 110.
At peak, he runs 200 miles a week when he's training for his marathon.
Right, I'm going to have to end the show there. I better get out. I'm going to take 8 grams of creatine and off I go.
Yeah,
Does he have a big arch?
I wonder how much creatine he takes. Can he take creatine?
That's more than all 4 of us probably put together.
It's
That's peak.
Impressive, isn't it?
I know. It's ridiculous.
Volume wins, people. Volume does win. But here's the thing. Good segue there, Hayden. So, on a serious point, the reason I want to talk about this week, because people are either going to be starting half marathon training soon for like September stuff, October stuff. Some marathon training plans have started, like Chicago is kicked off and all that sort of stuff. And some of you may be wondering how to build your weekly mileage without like sort of burning out or getting injured, right? So what I've done is I put together 8 sort of things to think about, 8 sort of easy, simple things to consider to help gradually increase that mileage. Let's say probably the worst way of saying it, but in a safe way. Do you know what I mean? Because there's risks as you go through increasing your mileage. We see it all the time from people who are doing Couch to 5K, or they see somebody starting up running and they go out and they run 120 miles a week and then they end up with the physio and they wonder why. It's classic stuff, right? They get into it, they love it, which is fantastic, but they end up doing too many miles and they get injured. It's classic stuff, right? We see it all the time. We're probably all here guilty of it as well, right? We've probably come back from an injury, or we've come back from a bit of time out and we've picked up the mileage too quickly and we've been kicked up the arse. And that's what got me sort of thinking about it, really, in terms of it. And as I say, I've been writing a few plans and things like that for people. That's a good plug, actually. If you want a personalised training plan, get in touch. hello@fordyruns.com. Coaching, get on the waiting list. hello@fordyruns.com. You're welcome. But yeah. Oh, by the way, separate topic. Did you see that new running app that's going to apparently take on Runner? Has everyone seen that? Ben, have you seen that?
No,
not Runner, Strava. Is it Runner? I can't remember.
Same thing, isn't it?
It's the same thing now. But basically, what's her face? That really good little runner.
Charlotte Purdue.
And that geezer that she does the Purdue performance with, they've got together with Sir Mo, and they're doing like this AI-driven coaching thing, effectively, isn't it? Basically. But I think it's like going to be a mixture of everything. So you don't have to be a slave to Strava or Runner or those sort of things. There's another one coming to the market, so keep your eye out for that. Be interesting. I was talking I might. No, I bet. Am I going to get told off? No, Wilco's.
If you're asking the question, then yes.
No, but I was actually talking to a medically trained person who was using a app, and they got injured on it, and they weren't very happy about it. Yeah, I'm not going to say any more than that. I'll let you read between the lines there. Anyway, you can get 2 weeks off, 2 weeks free at Cooper, and we recommend Cooper, don't we, Hayden?
We certainly do for the everyday runner.
FORDYRUNS.com/Cooper. I'll give you a clue that physio wasn't talking about them. But anyway, go back. What was we talking about? Oh yeah, mileage. Warned you. I did warn you all. Welcome to ADHD week. So I'm now going to give you 8 incredible pieces of advice. This will blow your mind. Even Paula Radcliffe on a new podcast said to me, "Fordy, can you send over the things that you wrote down? Because I'm going to go through them myself." I went, "All right, Paula. Oh, it's all right. You've got your own podcast now." Which is very good, by the way. I thoroughly recommend it. If anybody give up with this crap that we put out, just go and listen to that. It's good stuff. You know, she talks a lot of sense. Don't get any of this nonsense on there. But yeah, so the first one, which I think we all know, and you're all going to guess it because it's the most obvious one out there in terms of increasing distance. Who's going to put their hand up first? The first thing I wrote down. No? Well, that's you 3, by the way.
You say increasing your distance.
Yeah. So, oh my God,
got to do it gradually.
Have you not been following along?
I'm still thinking about the big arch.
You're still thinking about the shady areas in the car park with your little stoop. What I'm talking about is increasing mileage this week, Ben. For people who are starting
gradually.
Do it gradually and safely. What do you think the first thing I wrote down when giving sort of ideas to people to help them? What do you think? What do you think my number one rule is?
Do it gradually.
Probably everybody has written down. You're going to do it gradually. Okay, well done. Thanks for coming. Hayden?
I would say, yeah, based on the same sort of thing. Abide into the 10% rule.
Yeah.
Alan?
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're going to put a number on it, 10% is the magic number.
Correct. These two, Ben, know what they're talking about.
Well, you didn't say put a number on it. You said, what am I going to do? I went, do it gradually.
I just said, what's the first thing that you reckon sprung to my mind?
Does 10% imply gradual? Yes.
To be fair, it wasn't that. It was saying. But if you haven't heard of this, this is the 10% rule, which is don't increase your weekly mileage by more than 10% per week. Why is that, Al?
Your body takes time to adapt. So if you go from nothing to 100, your body hasn't had time to adapt. So by building it gradually, Ben, underlined, about 10% per week will give your body time to adapt.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Hayden, is this, and going back being serious for a second, is this something you actually do?
It is, yes. But I think maybe when you've being an experienced runner is not really the right words, but I think when you're running quite a lot in and out of plans, your mileage is quite high and your plans, you're doing a lot anyway. So the graduation possibly would be less than 10% because you're already up at a certain mileage. But in general, if I'm having a long period off and I come back, absolutely, yeah, 10% maximum, definitely.
I've just seen Running with Pete lives in Phoenix. What a hero. Whereabouts in Phoenix, Pete?
I thought it's 115 degrees, though. So
are you living in Scottsdale, Pete? Must be rich. We like people like you. Come on, Pete. I mean, that's true. Scottsdale's really expensive to live in. You ever been to Scottsdale, Arizona?
I've been to Phoenix, but I've been to Arizona. I've been to Phoenix. I've been to Flagstaff.
Oh, Flagstaff's beautiful. We should go there on a base camp.
There is a lot of people go there for altitude training.
No, they do. Like the elites do a lot of camps out in because of the cooler temperatures, but more importantly, the altitude.
Yeah,
we should do that. I think that'd make a good video actually. That we all go out and do base camp in Flagstaff, Arizona. That would be a well good video, wouldn't it? I'll get a permission to do that.
If the long run show got the budget.
Yeah, get the sponsors to pay.
We'll be there. I quite like the idea. How much performance do you reckon we would gain from doing that?
10%.
You're talking absolute pipes there. No, be serious. How much? Because we'd have to time it. I'll never forget. I was in Las Vegas and I went to Flagstaff, but I went there in my shorts because I forgot the Flagstaff had snow.
It's cold.
Yeah, what absolute helmet. But yeah, it's I love Flagstaff. There's a great hotel there. It's got like a penguin sign on it. It's a really nice place to stay if anyone ever goes to Flagstaff. Anyway, let us know in the comments whether you think that'd be a good video. I think that'd be a good everyday runners go do. We could take people. This is brilliant. We could take people on your jet, Hayden, to Flagstaff for a base camp and try and see how much difference it would make to us. Like, because obviously the elites do it for the obvious reasons, yeah, in terms of training attitude. But I wonder how much impact that would seriously have on an everyday runner. Al, what do you reckon?
Well, the good news is it's going to take at least 2 weeks for the body to adapt. So again, if you're talking about running in high temperatures, they reckon it's about 2 weeks before your circulatory system and your heart and everything else gets used to it. So we might as well just take 6 weeks and see where we get to.
So go to Flagstaff for
School summer
6 weeks.
holidays, yeah. We'll jet off. Leave the kids at home.
There's a couple of flaws here. One, you hate flying. Two, I do not have a private jet. And three, I don't think any of us have got the ability to take 6 weeks off work. So there's a couple of flaws going on there, but I like the idea.
I can work on Zoom. Can you, Ben? Can you Zoom it?
I'll work in the bar at the hotel with the penguin sign.
I don't think you're going to get permission from the boss.
I don't know.
You got grass to mow.
Yeah, that is true. No, it's all burnt. All the grass is burnt because basically I can't be bothered to water it. It's a total waste of time. Who waters their grass? It's a total waste of time. I saw Geezer last night watering his grass. I just thought it's going to be 32 degrees on Monday, mate. Everything you're putting in there is already in the atmosphere. All you're doing is wasting everybody's time and your own money. It's just stupid. Why would you water grass? He's got nothing. If he's got nothing to do, he can come and mow the sort of mud that I've got out here. It's just pointless. What are we talking about tonight? Anyway, the next thing I said about was in terms of adding mileage into the week, where would you guys in your week of running add that mileage in? That's a question. There's no point asking Ben because he doesn't write his own plans. Aidan?
To be honest, I try to keep the consistency of the runs in the week pretty much the same, give or take a couple of kilometers or a couple of miles, whatever way. I'll always build a 10% in for me on that long run on the Sunday. So if 1 week I'm at 16 miles, the next week I might want to go to 18, then I might want to go to 20. So for me, it's building it in on that long run as opposed to just sort of building it within the week. Within the week, I think because you're restricted to time and stuff. So for me, I do a few 10Ks in the week, a few 12Ks. For me to suddenly go up to 18, 19K, it just takes up too much time. So yeah, I'd put in the long run, mate.
Al?
So an alternative to that, and they're both valid, is to fit in an extra run, but keep it slow and low. And you don't have to chase huge amounts of miles. It's more about that time on feet and getting used to perhaps running on slightly tireder legs because you've gone out for a fourth run maybe compared to a third, or a fifth compared to a fourth.
Ben, go back to you.
Yes.
Where do you like to see the increase in your mileage? Is it on certain runs or like Hayden said, is it on the long run or is it on it elsewhere?
Mine's a bit of a combination. I do like a double run day for that, just to give me at least 1 day off during the week. Much like Hayden said, I think it's finding the time, but I always like in my pace sessions, if they're say 5 or 10 minutes longer than the previous, or kind of similar, like to see that progression in terms of adding in if I'm getting further on those. But yeah, the long run is where I think it's almost, I'm going to say easier, but where you kind of factor that in, and so we're kind of building in, as Hayden said, 1 week 16 up to 18, then 20 is a more manageable amount, I think.
Yeah, and the long run's the cornerstone of effectively your half marathon and marathon training, right? And it's simple way to gradually increase that. If you're not sure of how much to increase it, just like a mile a week, or like 10-15 minutes extra onto your long run per week. That'll probably do it. And then take like a step back every 3 to 4 weeks from that increase in mileage. Hayden, are you someone who uses cutback weeks in terms of building through a plan?
Yeah, absolutely. And my cutback week, people do different things with a cutback, a bit like a taper as well. Some people reduce the effort, some people reduce the mileage. For me, I'll reduce the mileage and try and keep the effort just as strong.
Al, how much do you reckon in terms of percent should people cut their mileage on a cutback week?
It's an interesting one because being a Hanson plan follower, we don't really have cutbacks in the same way that many plans do. What they do is they shift some of the miles around. So you might be doing 10-10 1 week and then 10-16 on your Saturday, Sundays. But then, you might have a week where you're just going 8, 10 and 12. So you need to look at it, if you're a Hanson runner, kind of across a 4 to 6 week period, and just kind of try and balance out those miles rather than have a specific cutback.
Do you think, Al, can I ask you a question about that? If we take, just say 4 of us in this room here, and you and Chris are handsome runners, and me and Ben aren't, and we looked at our Stravas on a training plan for a marathon, would you and Chris's mileage be literally noticeably higher than ours in general over the 16 weeks?
A little bit. And the reason I say a little bit is because the handsome plan gets you out 6 times a week if you're doing it properly. But where we are not taking up all the miles is not running 22 milers, you know. So that's where you kind of gain some of the mileage back. But yeah, for me, a pretty good handsome plan is 50 miles consistently from about week 8 to 9 onwards. So you've got quite a long slog of consistent long miles. But that's the whole idea of the plan, is long and consistent rather than the 2022ers that broke me and break many people.
No, they do. They can mentally. They can break you. Yeah. I think the reason I put the cutbacks in there is because that's we was talking about obviously increasing your mileage, but avoiding burnout, avoiding like injuries and stuff like that. So they are really important to put them in. You can't just hammer it for 12, 16, 20 weeks or whatever you want to do, because it's just a stupid idea. So make sure that you are putting in cutback weeks, or and if you're getting a plan put together, then make sure that you include them. And a good way of doing it is put them around races as well. So if you've got like a race in your plan that you put in, I try with my clients. I try and get a race in, like, I don't know, 6 weeks out from a marathon, say something like that. That'd be a cutback week, that sort of thing. Just reduce
We're going
some
into
of that.
Summer holidays, that's going to be a period
exactly.
where
Exactly.
I always creative with it.
It's a good point now, because a few clients were asking me about that this week, about summer holidays. And for me, summer holidays are always about maintenance. So while you're away, you're maintaining. You're not trying to increase anything. You're not trying to lose anything. You're in a period of time that is important mentally as well as physically, but mentally, to go away on holiday. It's really important. Running is not the be all and end all, right? So spending time with whoever and whatever you're doing, even if you're spending 2 weeks, waiting for Ben to turn up in Hartham Common of an evening, whatever you're into, you need to take that time off. So don't get stressed about bloody like mileage while you're away. It's a maintaining period. So how you break that up is entirely up to you. And obviously everyone's plans are different, but like, I don't know, even if you're just smashing the treadmill every other day and doing a gym session, whatever. Yeah. The worst thing is obviously to do nothing. But is it the worst thing? Probably not. You could get away with it. Yeah. It's not the building. The rest will probably do you good anyway. One thing I did want to say is about increasing. This is basically pretty much what you were saying. Was about increasing that frequency before the distances. So like if you're running 3 times a week, maybe add an extra run, but keep it low and slow, rather than trying to increase the distance more. It's an easier way, as you said, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to cut you across another one now in terms of
go for it.
If you're doing that, it's about getting that 80-20 balance. So, and more numbers, Ben. Sorry.
He's not keeping up. He don't even know what we're talking about this week.
I just follow what's on my plan. If it says something, I'll switch it around to accommodate. But if he's told me to run it, I'll go run.
He's more worried about the size of his scoop, I'll be honest.
To be fair, I am thinking I need a bigger scoop.
He's sending me messages about his scoop on here. Go on, carry on now. Sorry.
Yeah, so that's about just keeping most of your miles, and it doesn't have to get exact, because life isn't as simple as that, as easy. And then have the quality sessions for the speed work once or twice a week if you're kind of running 4 or 5, 6 times a week.
Have you, Hayden, when you at the start of your plan, do you try and keep stuff easier instead of like faster? Let's say keep those easy runs easy while you build at the start of a plan, and that mileage is sort of tracking up a little bit.
No, if I'm honest, I don't. A lot of my plan, I've always looked at it as though before the plan starts, firstly look at what I want to achieve at the end of the plan, whether that be a 12-week plan, 16-week plan. And so if we take, just say a marathon, it's easier for me to do at the moment. So a 16-week plan, I know what time I want to run at the end of the 16 weeks. So I know already what my target pace is. So for me, it's so important throughout the whole 16 weeks to really smash so much a target pace just to get me used to that. And I know that running a slightly elevated target pace, slightly above it, it's going to make that target pace a bit easier. So I'm straight away, my first runs when I'm looking at fartleks, I'm looking at intervals, they're always going to be elevated on my target pace. So no, I wouldn't say necessarily that I look at my plan and think 5, 6, 7 weeks down the line, I'm going to be running faster than what I'm running at and now. But then I suppose that would be different if it's my first ever plan and I was starting on something else. That could be the case where I'm still trying to work out what my target pace is. But for me, no, I know what my pace is, what I want to run. So no, I don't get faster throughout the plan at all.
Interesting.
I think it depends how off plan you've been, doesn't it? If, like most of us, you're probably always doing 30 miles as a base, going into some speed work early on in the plan isn't going to kill you. It isn't going to put that extra risk of injury. But if you've only been park running every other week and suddenly you're into a plan, then you probably do need a couple of weeks of building base before you start really thrashing it at tempo and beyond.
Yeah, I mean, I'd encourage the first few weeks of a plan, other than maybe one session a week, is pretty conversational in terms of, but especially on the long run, as you build that endurance, to build that stamina in. Like Ben and I got 15 miles this weekend, and that's going to be easy. Maybe we'll kick on the last lap or something like that, just because he's probably bored by then.
I mean,
but
to be fair, I got speed tomorrow, so 50
yeah, exactly.
miles
But
easy is good.
Yeah, so but the thing is like, you need to build. You don't need to rush anything. You got to remember, a plan is built over a period of time for a reason. You don't need to rush anything. There's no rush, people.
And that's a real key, because I think this week, we started Chicago plan this week.
Is it this week? I thought it was last week.
Well, I started mine this week. I definitely started mine this week. It is, I think that's what is 16 weeks out. But it's almost, I think, and Hayden, to your point, is obviously for me, I've got a slight tweak. I'm there is a slight time aim for Chicago. It's probably a little bit quicker than Paris. That's all I'll say. But that means that my speed, in terms of the speed sessions, I'm not. Even when I trained for Berlin last year, I'm not hitting the speed that I'm obviously wanting to at the end of the block, but actually it's kind of pushing it. And I think I think to get that in at the start and be pushing that forward is important. Like you said, because I think if you're not, you're kind of setting that expectation from the start, and a plan's never going to be easy, but actually you want it to kind of challenge you and keep you engaged from that perspective.
Talking engaged, I've switched off. Peter Johnson's just asked, do you still advocate not doing the full 26 miles during training? Have any of you ever done the 26 miles during the training? 26.2 miles? No, it's a stupid idea. I would not recommend that at all. One thing you could do, and not necessarily saying to do it, is split some high mileage over 2 days. Is one thing you could maybe do. I remember Speedgo did that, and it tragically came undone at mile 11 at the big half. It was absolute classic. Do you remember that, Ben?
I do. Yeah. That was the year where I said this is the first year where I've not walked on the big half, and then I had to walk with Speedgo. Yeah.
He'd done 13 miles with me on the Saturday, and then they had the big half on the Sunday.
The only thing I would say about that question about the 26 miles, it's not something I'm ever going to do. I very rarely go up to 22. I'll stick to about 20. But I would say there are caveats to it. So Ben's a great example. Year before last, where you went and run Berlin, and then 2 weeks later you run Chicago, and you run it quicker, and you had a better performance. So I don't know. Is there something there? Is there technology? Is there science behind that? That was it because of that Berlin run that you run quicker at Chicago? I don't know. It could just be the fluke. Could be just you're ultra fit or anything. But I wouldn't say it's
he's got a very good coach.
It could be. He's got a very good coach. But I wouldn't say it's almost like you should never do that. It's an absolute disaster. You're going to break down. You're going to kill yourself. You're going to injure yourself. Nothing like that. But I don't know. I think there is people are doing. It's becoming more and more popular. If that makes sense.
I would say that's bollocks. You're looking to peak for one race. Yeah, he just was an idiot and done two. Like normal, like being serious. Yeah, if you look at your yeah, we're looking really for you to peak at one race.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need you to go and do 26.2. All you're doing is risking injury. Yeah, because you're going to be then running after that. Don't forget the damage you do to your body over 26.2 miles, right? You've got the recovery from that. Think how long a recovery from a marathon actually takes. But what
it's the
people
mental
are doing,
fear factor, though, isn't it? People think,
yeah, I
if
get
I get
that.
to 20, how am I going to do that last 6? So you think, if I can do it in training, I must be able to do it on the day. But you're right. It's not advisable, really.
No, there's massive downside to it.
So what happens with an ultra then?
Different. So again, ultras splitting the distances over a period of time. So back-to-back runs. I just had a client who just completed. Oh damn! What did Dan do? Was it 70 miles or something stupid like that? And we had him doing basically back-to-back longer runs over the weekend period, effectively. So he had the time on feet, but it wasn't like a straight hit. So yeah, it was. I can't remember. I'd have to have a look at his training plan. I wrote, but it was. I swear it was like a 20 and like a 7 mile or something like. But like over, and we built that up over a period of time. We added that in to his week, so we just built him up nice and slowly and brought that into play. And it was still tough. So that's the way we dealt with that. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend personally doing the 26.2. No. Talking of that, I think listening to your body is key, not just the plan. We know that in terms of when you're building mileage up, there will be periods of time where you're knackered, and that's just adaptation, right? That's normal. I think we all feel that. Some weeks sometimes it's week 6, sometimes it's week 8, 9, whatever. You always have that sort of mid-season slump. That's natural, but there is the other side to that, where if you're maybe pushing it a little bit too hard because you're using a running app that's got you running off your 5k pace, that can push you quite hard, and it could lead to injury if you don't listen to it, and you need to adapt it. Easier said than done. Appreciate that. But what my point is that genuinely, seriously, listen to your body. Yeah, it is important, especially when you're training in the heat through the summer. But again, remember, there will be a period of time where your body's going, no thanks, I don't really like all this marathon training, half marathon training we've got to do here. You can jog on, son. I want to sit home and eat a big arch. But you do get through that, okay? Last 2 quick things really was, firstly, was to build the increasing in mileage, or your weekly mileage, around your lifestyle. And we spoke about this before. Al, you spectacularly spoke about this in terms of even people looking at 2-week plans, 14-day periods of time for a training plan, right? Is he there?
I lost you there. Yeah,
He's
sorry.
lost
I
segued to you beautifully, Al.
And I missed it.
You missed it. No, I was saying, because you've said before on here about the people using like 14-day, 20-day training windows.
It's natural and it's obvious that we all kind of tend to rotate around a 7-day cycle, but I don't think there's any science behind that in terms of whether 7 is the best. It's about lifestyle, and if you can, if you can't because you're on shifts, then 10 and 14 days can work as well, because it's about the balance of miles, and it's about the balance of days running, and it's about the intensity. So as long as you're mixing those up and getting the good balance, I don't think 7, 10 or 14 as a window for your schedule makes much difference. It's about the quality. I think Hayden said right at the start, quality sessions.
Yeah, that's all we're looking for. So that's definitely, so again, build your mileage around your lifestyle is key. And the last thing, as always, which we bang on about this, is cross training, fit strength work to support the mileage gains. Yeah, you're all gonna need to be strong. You're all gonna need to be doing mobility. You're all gonna need to strengthening that core. You're all gonna be doing all the bits and bobs.
I think actually Simon's a great example of that, isn't he?
Who?
Where Simon.
Which one?
Your Simon, if we can call him your Simon.
I've got 2.
Miserable Simon, bad rating Simon.
That's a bit strong.
Like,
No,
you know
it's
what
not- it's
Greg
insulting him.
Simon.
It's not-
Greg
it's-
Simon.
It's not start insulting him.
I'm not. I actually.
bet you'll say he's on creatine next thing. Yeah.
He's on 18 grams of creatine. Yeah,
Got a
no,
big
but he
scoop.
is someone I actually admire because he's done exactly. We talk about mileage. I know he literally didn't he. His running was he wasn't getting bored of running, but he just wasn't doing the same thing. So he dropped a run and he put in cross training instead. So he was telling me recently, I think it was at Southend, he dropped his mileage for a marathon training block, something like 35 miles a week. Or so. He's really dropped it down, but his performance on top of that has just gone through the roof, and he's a complete different runner for it. It's really,
He's
really
going
worked well
sub
for him.
three. He's going sub 3 in New York.
Yeah, that as well, exactly. So just that dropping that run and doing that bike ride, that cross training, I think that's made a big difference to him, both obviously psychologically, mentally, and it seems as well physically. So yeah, there's definitely science in that.
He's done a bit of weight as well.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, he's done a bit. I suppose you didn't hammer him for that as well.
Didn't hammer him at
You
all.
did hammer him. Ben, did he hammer him?
No.
Yes, he is. But yeah, you need to get on this, people. You need to. I'm not saying like become a triathlete like me, but what you do need to be looking at low impact activities that are going to help with the with your mileage increases. If you're seriously training for these halves and these endurance events, right, whatever it is, you've got to put the work in elsewhere. You can wing it for a period of time, right? But at some point, your body's going to turn around and go, you know what, mate? Have some of this IT band issue. Bosh, have some of that. Do you know what I mean? Something will throw up, because if you're not looking after it, then it's going to give you a real kick in the old scoop. I think that's it. Surprisingly, weirdly, and remarkably, we may have added even some value. And I think, I'm not sure exactly what, but I think Al, do you think we've added any? I think
Well, in the good old days, it would have been send your answers on a postcard, but I don't think that applies anymore, does it?
No. You could send an email in, but we don't read them. We just delete them. Unless you want to pay us some money to sponsor us and send us all to Flagstaff for a base camp. I seriously think that's a brilliant idea. How much can an everyday runner improve from spending 6 weeks in Flagstaff? I don't think I'd improve that much. I'd be eating and going to honky tonks.
Well, that running with Pete, he's actually got on the 4th of July. He's doing the downtown Flagstaff mile on July the 4th, Independence Day.
I'd love to do that. Honestly,
that's not too far, is it? Just a mile.
I would love to do that. It goes back to my point. How hard's the mile? The mile must be harder at altitude. Yeah, it must be though. Seriously, right? I think we're onto something here. I'm wondering if go
with the
down.
boss.
Yeah, I know. You could fly in a Phoenix straight onto the I-10. Bosh, have some of that. We'd be there in no time. It's great. I think it's a genius idea. Let us know if you want to join the base camp. Hayden's Pain. So send in your emails into haydenspain@gmail.com and we won't answer that. Next week, are we here live? Does anybody know?
Yeah, I think so.
Are we? We are here live. That's good news. So we'll be back to not entertain you, but we'll be back here to talk nonsense next week for 60 odd minutes. I don't know what's going to happen between now and then. Al, where are you tomorrow?
Heading to Kingdom, which is just outside Tunbridge Wells. In answer to the question, there's 8 letters to go for the 4th alphabet, but actually tomorrow will leave me one South London run short from fixing my Veroni from the North Sea to the Channel. Now, if you follow the 5K app, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I can see Fordy's face.
I apologise.
I need some more creatine. I need some more creatine.
Did you say fix your Veroni?
Yes, I'm going to have a Veroni that goes all the way from the North Sea to the Channel once I do one more South London Park run. And I've got to decide
what
which
South
one
London
it is.
Park runs that?
Probably Greenwich. I think I probably have to do Greenwich to complete that.
So
Chris, do you remember Blockbuster in the day when you came home from school?
I like that show.
So you know, they used to have to kind of connect from one side of the board to the other. With both
hexagons
connecting the letters. That's basically
Bob Holness. Is that
Bob Holness?
Is it
Can I
Bob
have a pea,
Holness?
please? Yeah, can I have
That's
a pea,
it,
please,
yeah.
Bob? Yeah, that's
It's
what
not
I'm
that,
doing.
is it?
Is that what a Veroni is?
It's more than that.
A beer.
Double Veroni and lime. Yeah.
Oh, let's give Dennis a shout Dennis has just said, while we're in the US at base camp, can we pop along to our new satellite? So, Hayden, we could add that to the itinerary. If you didn't know, we've got an amazing new satellite in Lexington, South Carolina, by the amazing hero, it's Dave. He's my new legend. So, if you're anywhere in that area, make sure you get along to that.
Can you imagine Flagstaff to South Carolina? Obviously, about a 3-hour flight.
You could run there. If you did enough training in Flagstaff, you could technically run there.
He would be Forrest Gump then, wouldn't you?
I can't remember the name of the hotel. I'm going to look that up. Honestly, it was such a nice hotel. I used to go there every year, every time I went to Flagstaff, because I used to drive through there. Because like you go to Sedona and stuff like. Have you been to Sedona, Hayden?
I've never been to Sedona. No.
Sedona's. Al, you've been to Sedona?
No.
They do a race in Sedona. Honestly, it's the most beautiful place. Like one of the most beautiful places on earth. Anybody who's been there, I've been serious. Anybody who's been to Sedona will know exactly what I'm talking about. It is stunning. But they do a race in Sedona. Everybody Google it after this. Right, I think that's it. Ben, what are you doing tomorrow? You park run, did you say?
No, I volunteered to barcode scan again tomorrow.
Oh, can you warn them where you're going to be? Because it's the worst experience.
I mean, they haven't said yes yet. It's only because they didn't have one, and so I felt like.
But no, they've turned it down. Who is it? I'm going to email the RD and just let them know how bad
it's Aldenham again. You know why not?
You're not going back there.
I'm not going to run it though.
That's terrible, Ben. You were so bad at it. I'm not being horrible, but you were so bad at it.
Did you get your result?
No, and I don't know why. I don't think the barcode scanner did it properly. Right, team. Be safe this weekend. 32 degrees on Sunday over here in the UK. Christ knows what it's going to be in Flagstaff. But yeah, just take care of yourself. Don't be stupid. Don't need to be a hero like me and get out there and do stupid things, because we want you all back here next week on time. Don't be late like Ben was today. Get back here on time, 7 o'clock. We go live. We don't know what we're going to talk about. It could be anything. Where's the outro? It's here. So I'm live on Monday. Don't forget shoe reviews now on the website. And if you find out, if you go on there, there's a sportsshoes.com code 10% off. Join the club. It's free. What else do we need to plug? No, that'll do.
If you're in Wrexham, get involved.
Well, yeah. What's that? If you're in Wrexham.
If you're in Wrexham, get involved. Yeah.
We've got a new satellite in Wrexham. Join that. Join everything. Just go to FORDYRUNS.com now, immediately, after you've Googled Sedona and gone online and checked out how small Ben's scoop is. Right, we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.